into this mix.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Derek Bros. It's September 12th, 2017, outside of the White House, and I'm with these lovely ladies. Who am I speaking with?
I'm Emily Cooper from West Virginia, and this is my friend from Peru.
Maria Antonieta from Peru, visiting for the second time the United States.
Oh, beautiful. Well, so is this your first time at the White House for both of you, or?
Oh, no.
You've been here plenty of times?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I guess my first time.
Okay, well, I'm out here today to talk to people. Obviously, it's the day after September 11th. Were you guys here in the city yesterday?
No, we were not.
You just got here today?
Yes.
So I'm trying to get a taste for what people feel is going on in the country, and I think it'll be good to get your perspective from somebody from Peru, outside of the U.S. But lately in the media, there's been this image that's been portrayed that there's a lot of division going on in the country, whether it's division over politics or division over racial divides and these sort of things. And I'm curious if that experience is actually reflected in the American people. Is that something that you experience in your lives? Because I personally have found that it seems like there's a lot more unity in our lives. I interact with people of all colors and backgrounds and ethnicities I'm from Houston, so we have a very diverse city. But again, when you look on the media and the TV, there's a lot of this portrayal of division and fighting. And so, your thoughts on that? Does that represent your experience?
If you have love in your heart, you love all people. You don't have to agree with them. They have their opinion. You have your opinion. And our country has the oldest constitution in the world. And many, many countries have written their constitution using our constitution of 230 years as a guide, because it's fair to all people. And that's what really our country is about. It's a great melting pot. We all came from somewhere else.
Sure.
Not just someone who came this year.
Sure.
My ancestors came in the 1700s. I'm a member across the way of the Daughters of American Revolution. I'm also a member of the United Daughters of the Confederacy. I don't agree with vandalism tearing down the statues. If the statues are to be taken down, they should be taken down reverently and moved to a private park.
Maybe to a museum or something? What do you
think
about
that? Or a museum. I think that's wonderful. But putting a rope on them and tearing them down, I don't agree with. In 1953, our government said that Confederate veterans are equal to any other military veteran that's ever served in our country. So they should not be disrespected.
What would you say to those who, perhaps those of color, who say that to them in their experience that the Confederacy represents traitors to the U.S., to the experiment of the United States, and slavery and these sort of things? And so for them, when they think of it, it's got it's a tough spot, a soft spot for them.
Even though my ancestors fought for the Confederacy, I'm very happy that we stayed one country and that we ended slavery. I don't think we needed to be split into two countries, and slavery is wrong. There's a lot of slavery today in our country and all over the world.
Sure.
And we always need to fight against slavery.
Absolutely.
But things should be respected. Shouldn't have a rope and pull them down.
So it's interesting that the conversation's going that way, because as I said, I was in Houston, and there was a protest in Houston maybe last month called Destroy the Confederacy, and there's a statue in our downtown area called the Spirit of the Confederacy, and so it represents the Confederacy. And there was several groups that came out there, maybe a couple hundred people who were there. They didn't try to take down the statue or anything, but to kind of rally and say to them, the Confederacy represents these other things. And so there was some counter protesters, and I asked them this question, and your response as well. One side, the side against the statue, said, well, we don't have statues of Hitler in Germany, so we shouldn't have statues of Confederate people who enforced slavery and things of that sort. Do you think there's,
It's part of our history. We're a democracy. We should not rewrite our history. We have to embrace all of our history.
Do you think there's danger in rewriting or forgetting history?
I think there's a big, big danger in rewriting history. That smacks of totalitarianism. It's not a democracy to rewrite history.
Sure.
Our history, for good or bad, is our history.
So, some of the discussions around this lately have tended towards free speech. For example, there's some of those maybe on the political left, the more, I guess, hard left, extreme left, who believe that, if you're a supporter of Confederacy or what they see as white supremacy, or even going as far as Nazism.
I'm not a white supremacist.
Sure, and I'm not saying that you are, but they would say that those need to be punched in the face.
I have many friends of people of color, and obviously I have visitors from other countries in my home. But everything should be done in order and respect.
Do you think, though, I kind of get a feel for what you're going to say, but your thoughts on people who believe, well, the only way to combat those, and not yourself, but those who have, for whatever reason, come out in the open and chanting white lives matter and Jews will not replace us and these sort of bigoted things.
They're wrong.
There's some
that's
who
evil.
think that the only answer to that is to punch them in the face.
No, that's evil and hate, but we need peaceful demonstrations. I participated in the Women's March.
Yeah.
We need peaceful demonstrations.
So you would not, you wouldn't support or think that it's a wise or effective strategy to...
No.
Somebody has a bigoted view, you punch them in the face.
No, absolutely not. I'm a Christian. I try to live my Christian values.
I can respect that.
I can love you without agreeing with you.
Absolutely. So one other question, and I'll let you ladies go. I appreciate your time. So it is September 12th, as I was saying, and I'm out here doing a story on the anniversary of 9/11. That's why I was out here. So again, getting sort of a litmus test for where people are, what their thoughts are. Where were you at on September 11, 2001?
2001, I was at my home and just going out in the community to do my business. Yesterday, I was with a group of ladies for a meeting, and we paused and we had 5 minutes of silence to remember all those who perished in the 2001 event of 9/11.
So what are your thoughts on the state of the nation, the repercussions of that impact 16 years later? Looking at how much the country has changed, how we've gotten engaged in several conflicts overseas, and things of that sort. What are your thoughts? Like, what has changed in 16 years?
Too many freedoms have been taken away.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. You think that's come at the cost of security? That freedom is coming at the cost of security? Because after 9/11, of course, we saw the creation of the TSA, the Patriot Act, a lot of these different organizations and new laws in the name of fighting the war on terror.
Part of what this country's founded on is citizens can have the right to live their life in freedom, have their opinions, worship in freedom, worship anything they want to worship. And the principles that were established on were very, very aware of personal freedoms being taken away because they had lived under kings who were dictators. So when they established this Constitution, one thing that they built in that we should have personal freedoms and equality and freedom of speech, and it's not right to lose our freedoms.
So do you think that the loss of the freedoms then is indicative of the Constitution either being faulty, or is it just not being followed?
It's not faulty. There are just always different views pushing the boundaries of our Constitution.
Sure. So back to the topic of 9/11, you said you were back at your home. Did you witness the collapse of the towers on
television? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually a junior in high school at that time. So I remember watching it. They turned it on during our history class, and we watched it happen. So were you aware that in addition to the Twin Towers, that 3 buildings fell on that afternoon? How there was the World Trade complex?
Some around it fell.
Yeah, specifically one of the ones that fell was World Trade Center 7, which was adjacent to the other 2.
Yeah.
So this is something that I just learned this week that I've been getting people's feel for an idea on. Is on Wednesday, a professor of engineering at University of Alaska Fairbanks, he announced the results of a 2-year study, an engineering study that him and his PhD students have been doing. And
we only have 3 hours today.
Sure.
So we're going to go ahead, and I want these ladies to see as much of Washington as they can.
Could I ask you this last question?
I think we better go.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, though.